Good morning and welcome to another day of the Daily Reset. This particular reset is one of the pieces that tend to have the biggest impact on participants of the Daily Reset on an ongoing basis. And so I'm sharing with you something that I know every time I share it, even those who have heard it before find something new. And it's particularly impactful if you're coming across it for the first time. But to get ready, I would like us to revisit our primary precept about intentionality. Intentionality gives me, I would like you to get into the habit of verbalizing this precept not as a complete line, but as phrases. You start at various points and speak three of those words as a phrase by themselves, because it's packed with meaning. When you read it as a full phrase, as a full precept, you miss out. So intentionality is a source. It gives me, intentionality gives me the power. Intentionality gives me the power to embody. It gives me the power to embody it's not a random identity, the identity. It gives me the power to embody the identity God. It gives me the power to embody the identity God designed. It's not chose or by default gave me, designed. The identity God designed for. The identity God designed for. Custom made for me. Intentionality gives me the power to embody the identity that God designed for me. In pursuit of the identity God designed for me, I can either get there by action or I can get there by orientation. I shared in our WhatsApp group quite recently that lasting change does not occur at the level of action. It occurs at the level of orientation. The question is, what's the most powerful orientation in life? Please go to the chat box. Just give me what comes to mind. What is the most powerful orientation in life? What's the most powerful orientation in life? What orientation, if you embrace it today, would be the most powerful, most transformative, most empowering, most enabling for you to embody the identity God designed for you? It's not a random identity. It's an intentional identity that is custom made, designed by the best designer ever for you. Nicole, transformation, Gladys, presence now, faith, self-awareness, Ipale, positive mindset. Could I get a couple more, please? All of these are elements of the orientation we will speak about. Intentionality, Jeb Kemei, self-awareness, Isabel. Established in order, continuous learning. All of you are right. I will give you the orientation in a way that brings it all together. Every morning, you make decisions. I make decisions every morning. What to wear, what to eat, what to drink, what status update to bring up on social media, whether it's WhatsApp or wherever, which emails to answer. Sometimes you even plan your day down to the hour. But what we are speaking about today is sometimes the one decision we almost never make. And it's a question of consciously choosing who will show up. In other words, what identity you will show up with. And sometimes we simply go through the motions. We let the mood guide us. Perhaps we allow last night's argument, last night's anxiety, last night's tension, yesterday's incomplete business to decide what happens. Sometimes it's a message on our phone or an email that appears in the inbox. And by the time we realize that we haven't made that choice, half the day or more is gone. And we find ourselves reacting to circumstances. And circumstances are always available. Every moment of my life, every moment of your life, it's either I am leading my life or I am submitting my life to circumstances. Either I am responding with a pre-selected strategy or I'm reacting to what circumstances bring. And that's how we end up with some days which we call rough days. But if you look behind the rough day, it's not that the day was rough. It's that the day was not chosen. When the day comes by default, most likely, it's not going to look like what you wanted. You will call it rough. I will call it rough. But it's not a rough day. It's an unchosen day. And who ends up getting the unchosen days? The unchosen days are gotten by three mindsets. And it's not that we are actively choosing the life that is made up of the rough day. Instead, it is that we walk into it. There are three mindsets that tend to show up. The first one is the victim. The victim asks, why does this keep happening to me? Why is it always harder for me? Why can't I catch a break? The victim is always praying, someone please fix this. Someone fix this for me. The victim is waiting for rescue, for fairness, for the universe to recognize that he's been or she's been dealt with tough cards. And the tragedy is not just in the circumstance itself of life, whatever the circumstance is, even if the circumstance is painful. The tragedy for the victim is the waiting. Because while I wait or you wait, when we are caught up in the victim mindset, our life slips away. Life sleeps beneath the victim mindset. The second one, which is more common than we acknowledge, the second mindset is the mindset of the survivor. I just need to get through this week. I just need to make it to the end of the quarter, and then I can breathe. I just need to get this child to finish cleaning their room. I just need to survive this season, then I will start living. At the end of March, when I'm done with this business project, I will start living. The survivor is praying, please let this end. And when it ends, I will have a different reality. The tragedy for the survivor is just the gradual decline. Standards gradually lower. It goes from this year, I'll be waking up at 5 a.m. and working out to 5:30 because I'm having very busy days, to 6 to 6:45, to waking up barely 5 minutes to catch the bus or get in the car and get to work on time. The standards gradually drop. They drop unnoticed. Excellence becomes optional. We go from excellence to just doing enough. As long as the report is complete, it's not my best work, but ambition shrinks to quote unquote manageable. I am a firm believer in margin, but watch out that margin does not corrode your ambition, does not corrode your stretch. You employ margin so that you can select the few most important goals, but once those are selected, you do not get to go shallow. You go fewer but deeper. For the survivor, ambition shrinks to what's manageable. Instead of building capacity for more, the survivor shrinks to the least that they can get away with. Then one day, you look up and realize you survived 10 years, but you never truly lived them. Even living itself can become reduced to merely breathing from day to day with not much to point back to. That is the cost of survivorship. Victim, survivor, the third mindset is spectator. Spectator. There are many things in life which we should spectate, but the challenge is to spectate without having an opinion, because if I don't have a responsibility for it, I should not have an opinion. But the true spectator mindset is where almost everything becomes, that's not my problem. It becomes, let me see how this plays out. It's like watching politics. I'll get involved when the time is right. The spectator's mindset and prayer is, could someone please handle it? Except the spectator is not involved. They are involved by strong opinions from the sidelines. They will offer you sharp analysis from the safe distance. Have you ever watched football or athletics with somebody who is the true spectator? If you're not careful, they'll punch you. Go, 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 go. They can almost control the player on the ground, but they're watching from a safe distance. They're on the trenches. They're not in the field playing. A spectator waits for someone braver to take initiative, but then they're the first one to critique the actions of the braver one who took initiative. The victim mindset, the survivor, and the spectator, we don't choose them, we walk into them. And it's usually never one or the other. Sometimes it's layered elements of each of them. The victim waits for rescue. The survivor waits for relief. At some point, there will be more room for me to begin living at the standards that I set. The spectator waits for someone else to take action. And they all do three things. The first one is they leave. They leave. The victim leaves through blame. The survivor escapes through numbness. The spectator never even engages, so they don't have to leave. And when they leave, it's someone else's business. They all shrink. The victim diminishes into resentment. Why is my life always like that? Why is this happening to me all the time? The survivor compresses into endurance. They are no longer living. They are no longer growing. They are no longer expanding. They are just enduring. The spectator contracts into mere commentary. They have a master's. They have fluent English. They have access to the internet. Everything that they are putting out is just opinion. They're not building anything. They're just giving opinion. They have a PhD in problem description. They can dissect the problem to its roots and tell you what is going on. But they don't have one solution to offer. And when they have a solution to offer, it's just a verbal solution. Over time, these patterns become ingrained and they become part of our identity, and they quietly shape our orientation. When something happens, one of these shows up, either the victim or the survivor. It's one of them automatically shows up, or the spectator, such that you did not choose the orientation that coalesces from a combination of these elements, but that becomes your orientation. It happens so quietly, you cease noticing that you are doing it, and it becomes almost your way to live. So I want us to consider 3 questions before I give you the orientation. 3 questions that will help us identify these patterns. The first one is, where in your life, the first question, where in your life are you waiting? Where are you waiting? What kind of conversation have you been avoiding? What decision are you delaying until you feel ready? Most importantly, what standard have you quietly lowered because nobody called you on it? Because you lost touch with when you set it. What standard have you lowered in your life? That's the first compound question. Question number 2, I'm sorry, I'm going a bit fast because I would love that we complete this piece together. Number 2 is, where are you living? When things get tense, where do you disappear to? Or do you disappear to your phone? Do you disappear into busyness, into blame? Do you disappear into diplomacy, quote unquote, keeping the peace, when you are actually avoiding the discomfort, avoiding the confrontation, avoiding the weight, the uncertainty that comes with deciding or taking the action? Because sometimes the most tragic waiting is the living is the living that doesn't require you to stand. Sometimes you can leave a conversation when you are sitting quietly, perfectly, but you've left. Question number 3, what are you normalizing? What are you normalizing? If someone was watching you, maybe it's your kids or your colleagues, someone close to you, and they copied everything, your reactions today, your tone, your patience, your excuses, your effort, would they become wiser because of what they copied from you? One of the most influential realizations I had in my life in 2018 is that you don't have the option of opting out of influence. You cannot opt out of influence. It's not something you choose. You can't take a sabbatical out of influence. You only get to choose what to reinforce. So these are 3 hard-hitting questions. This session usually takes at least an hour, but we are doing it a bit compressed because it's so important, especially for the step we are in right now. And now we go back to orientation. So this is the reorientation, because you can't think your way out of a default orientation. You can't journal your way out. You can't wait for motivation to come and fix it. We must replace it with a daily decision. I asked you a question, what's the most powerful orientation? And this is the answer. The most powerful orientation is to decide to show up as a leader, a problem solver, and a role model. The most powerful orientation is to decide to show up as a leader, a problem solver, and a role model. The leader is the person who goes first into the hard situation. While the victim is asking, why does this keep happening to me? The leader asks, what does this moment need from me? What does this moment need from me? This moment is hard, but it has happened. Either I walk away complaining or I walk away changed. The pain is the same. The output, the orientation, it gives you totally different results. This single shift changes everything downstream. It changes how you perceive the problems you encounter, how you carry yourself, how you recover even when things collapse. So that resilience is not something intellectual, it is a choice you make because you ask the different question, what does this moment need from me? What does this problem need from me? What does this conflict in my house, at work, need from me? What does this traffic jam need from me? Because leadership, at its very core, is the willingness to act before anyone asks you to. It's the willingness to act differently because you are not viewing a problem as something that has come to make you uncomfortable, but as an opportunity to experience some element of your life. The problem solver is the person who stays when it gets difficult, when it gets ugly, when it gets muddy, when it gets unpredictable. The person who stays. In truth, in most circumstances, problem solvers are the most tenacious people in the room, in the best way possible. It's not that they don't face the difficulty or they don't see the difficulty, they just have a slightly different attitude. You have two aircrafts in the air. One of them, the wind tosses it around and it falls. The other one, the wind tosses it around, but it continues gliding. The impact is the same. The end point is very different between the two. The difference is the orientation. The aircraft that crashes, the orientation faces down. It heads to the ground. The aircraft that survives, it's not facing down. It stays in the air even when things are ugly because its orientation is horizontal and it's designed to survive turbulence. It goes through the turbulence. Problem solvers refuse to abandon the problem just because it became challenging. Survivors endure difficult situations. Problem solvers engage in difficult situations. The weight is the same. The weight is the same. Survivor will survive the illness. The problem solver will also survive the illness, but they will come out changed. The problem solver stays in there, even when it gets uncomfortable. They stay long enough for clarity to emerge. And that's endurance combined with creativity under pressure. And this is one of the ways that makes life truly, truly meaningful. Because of time, let's look at the next one, the final component. So the first one is leader, problem solver. The final one is role model. The role model is someone who lives consistently. They live consistently. In other words, they show up the same way, whether anyone is applauding or not, whether anyone is paying or not. The spectator comments on life. They have an analysis of everything about life except actions. The role model demonstrates. They show up and they take action. I have learned from my own life that when you show up consistently, your consistency instills courage in other people. Your consistency inspires consistency in other people. Whether you like it, your life is currently creating a teaching lesson. Your life is creating a teaching lesson. That is what you desire, but it can also create a teaching warning. You can be the example, the role model, or the warning. You don't get to choose. There is always an example that is being put out. The only question is the lesson that you are putting out, if somebody embraced it. Is it something when they stand on the stage, can you say that's that's my example? You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your orientation. Whatever your goals are, your goals represent what you hope for. Your orientation determines how you show up, who shows up. Your orientation drives you, and it drives you whether you are paying attention or not. Let's close off with the 3 decisions. So the most powerful orientation is to show up as a leader, problem solver, and role model. The 3 choices, the leader's choice is I'll go first. Problem solver's choice is I'll stay. The role model's choice is I'll live as if someone is learning from me. I'll live as if someone is learning from me. So what's the most powerful orientation? What's the most powerful orientation in life? Is to decide, and notice that word, to decide to show up as a leader, as a role model, as a problem solver. So today I don't want us to use these identities we've been using. Steadfast, committed, unwavering, driven. These are attributes of leaders, problem solvers, and role models. Today, this is your assignment. Your identity has already been decided. You are a leader, a problem solver, and a role model. Can you say that to yourself and see what it feels like? Say it out loud to yourself. And if it feels different, that is how it's supposed to feel. You are a leader, Shiro. You are a leader, problem solver, and a role model. Isabel, you are a leader, problem solver, and role model coach. Mercy, you are a leader, problem solver, role model. Ruth, you are a leader, problem solver, role model. Sally, you are a leader, problem solver, role model. Lydia, you are a leader, problem solver, and a role model. I am a leader, I am a problem solver, I am a role model. If you choose those identities, you will go first, you will stay, and you will live as if someone is learning from you. You will go first, you will stay, and you will live as if someone is learning from you. I used to feel powerless. I used to allow external forces and limiting beliefs to hold me back. But today I say enough is enough. From this moment, I am seizing back my power. Today, I have decided as a leader, problem solver, and role model to direct my intentions. I am committed to master my focus. I have resolved to take command of my actions. Today, I am shading outdated beliefs, mindsets, and perceptions. Today, I am shading victimhood, survivorhood, and spectatorship. I am shading outdated beliefs, mindsets, and perceptions. I am determined to shape my reality with purpose. I am eager to unlock my full potential. I am willing to move to my next level. Time for you to do your daily reset. Make sure you share your reflection, your key takeaway from the session, and your reflection in the chat before you leave. I look forward to see you tomorrow. My name is Dr. Job Mogire from the House of Mastery. Where I come from, they call me Chobu. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.